Good morning, students. Today we are going to be talking about adding and subtracting decimals. That's going to be part of your week 1, Monday and Tuesday assignment. You will have 3 problems where you are required to solve a multi-step problem with addition and subtraction of decimals. So let's get started. Okay, so the main thing that we need to know when it comes to adding and subtracting decimals is that you line up your decimals. No matter what kind of numbers you have, make sure that your decimal is always lined up. So let's look at our first example, 6 plus 7 and 564 thousandths. I already have my decimal here. And so what I'm going to do is I need to type in the 6. Now, the 6 has nothing behind it. There isn't even a decimal. Doesn't mean that the decimal is not there. The decimal will be right here by the 6. And then to fill up these empty spaces, I'm just going to put zeros because that's what's there. Then I'm going to type 7 and 564. And once I've done that, I can now add. I can add this problem. So 0 plus 4 is 4. 6 plus 0 is 6. 5 plus 0 is 5. Don't forget your decimal. Make sure you bring that down before you even start adding so there is no issues with it. And then 6 plus 7 is going to be 13. So my final answer will be 13 and 564 thousandths. The most important thing is to make sure that your decimal is lined up. Okay, let's try this again. Bear with me with the technical difficulties. You will be doing this on paper. I will be doing this on pen and computer, so it takes me a little bit longer. Let's look at our second problem, 20 minus 12 and 52 hundredths. Okay, now, again, we have a number that doesn't have a decimal. Just because the decimal is not there does not mean it does not exist. The number 20, all I need to do is add a decimal at the end of the 0. And then anything behind it will just be zeros. So let's type this into our table. Again, remember we said there's no z, there's nothing there, so I'm just going to add zeros. So this is the number 20 minus $12, 12 and 52 hundredths. Now I can subtract. Well, I know I cannot do 2 minus 0. I can't do 5 minus 0, and I can't do 2 minus 0. So I need to borrow, and this is going to become a 1. No, take that away. Take that off. My bad. This is going to become a 1. This is no longer a 0. It's going to become a 9 because I'm going to borrow. This is now a 9. This will also become a 9 because I had to borrow from the 0. Become a 9, and then this will become a 9, and then this will become a 10 because I borrowed. So now I can subtract. No, okay. Take that off. This will become a 10. So let's get started. 10 minus 2 is going to be 8. 9 minus 5 is 4. My decimal's already there, so I can keep going. 9 minus 2 is 7, and then 1 minus 1 is going to be 0. So my answer is going to be 7 and 48 hundredths. Again, the most important thing that you need to do is line up your decimal. Line up your decimal. Oops. Line up your decimals. Let's all say it together. Line up your decimals, and then you can add like normal. What if my number doesn't have a decimal at the end? It has one. Add the decimal and put zeros behind it. Because 6.000 is the same as 6. And 20.000 is the same as 20. Now let's look at a word problem. Like I said earlier, we'll be doing multi-step word problems. So let's just jump into it, okay? Laura has 9 gallons of pink paint. She used 4.5 gallons of paint to paint her room and 3.6 gallons to paint the walls in her kitchen. She needs 5.6 gallons of paint to paint her living room. How much more paint will she need to paint her living room? So if I look at my problem, I'm talking about Laura. Laura has 9 gallons of paint. Okay, this is important information that I need to know. So I'm not going to do that. I am. No, I cannot do that. Technical difficulties. Insert, format. No, okay. We're just gonna change the color of the text so we know that's important information, and I will make it a beautiful flamboyant red. Okay, so I'm highlighting my important information. 9 gallons of pink paint, okay? She used 4.5 gallons to paint her room. So where she sleeps, her room, that's another piece of information. And then 3.6 gallons to paint the walls in her kitchen. So let's stop here. We've gone through 3 pieces of information. Let's start thinking about what these pieces of information mean. She has 9 gallons of paint. Well, that's the total amount of paint she has. So 9 gallons. She painted her room. She used 4.5 gallons, okay? And to paint for her kitchen, she used 3.6 gallons. So that's how much I have right now. She needs 5.6 gallons of paint to paint her living room. So that means she's going to paint another room. And this is how much paint she needs. So for her living room, she needs 5.6 gallons. How much more paint will she need to paint her living room? So the question I'm going to highlight, and I'm going to put it in blue because I don't have a highlighter on my computer. How much more paint, and we'll underline it. How much more paint will she need to paint her living room? So I need to see how much paint she's going to have left from her 2 projects, and then figure out how much more she'll need to get for her living room. So let's start with our problem. Well, I know how much paint she started with, and I know how much paint she used for her 2 projects. So let's figure out how much paint she used in total for her bedroom and her kitchen. So we're going to be adding. I'm going to add 4 point, move my decimal, that was a bad idea. Nope, bad idea again. 4.5 plus 3.6. Remember, this is the amount of paint she used in her living room. This is the amount of paint she used in her bedroom and the amount of paint she used in her kitchen. I want to know how much paint she's used so far. So 5 plus 6 is going to be 11. I leave my 1 and carry 1 up. So again, you'll be on paper. You can put on top. I'm on the computer. I'm just going to put it beside it, okay? 4 plus 1 plus 3. 4 plus 1 is 5 plus 3 more is going to be 8. So far, how much paint have we used to paint her kitchen? 8.1, okay? So this is how much paint she has used so far. Remember, she started out with 9 gallons and she's used 8.1. So what do we need to do next? I know how much she's used so far and how much paint she started with. I need to subtract. I'm going to subtract 9 gallons, the amount of paint she started with, from 8.1. Again, 9 does not have a decimal. There's no decimal there, but I know I can put a decimal and then add a 0. Bam, problem solved. So let's start subtracting. 0 minus 1, I can't do that. So I'm going to have to borrow from my 9, and my 9 is now going to become an 8. Dun, 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 an 8 it becomes. So now this is now no longer a 0 because I borrowed, and this now becomes a 10. Now again, like I said earlier, you will be doing this on paper. I am typing this on the computer. So you can write it above, but I have to write mine on the side. 10 minus 1 is going to be 9. But my decimal, 8 minus 8 will be 0. So this is how much paint she has left over. 9/10 of a gallon. You don't have a lot of paint left. So how much paint does she need to paint that living room? 5.6 gallons. The question wants to know how much more paint will she need. So I know how much she has left over, and I know how much she needs for her living room. So what's my last step going to be? I need to subtract the 9/10 from the 5.6 gallons of paint that she needs for her living room. If I do that, I will know how much paint she will need to buy from the store. So I'm going to subtract 5.6 minus 0. Point, that's a comma, 9. Let's start subtracting. 6 minus 9, can't do that. I need to go borrow. So this is no longer going to be a 5. I'm going to borrow from my 5, and it's now going to become a 4. Again, you will be writing this on top. I will be writing this on the side. I think, no, take that off. Let's see on my nerves. Click, 4. Okay, turn off. 4. No. Thank you. And then this will no longer be 6. This will become 16. Take that off. Woo! Okay. So 16 minus 9 is going to be 7. Remember, my decimal's already there. Yes. Oh, boys are gonna be. Any questions? And then 4 minus 0 is 4. So how much paint do we need left to make for the living room? We're going to need a total. We need 4.7 gallons of paint to finish her living room. Okay, if you have any questions about this, just send me a message through Teams or Class Dojo. I will see y'all today in class.